synopsis. Good morning and welcome to the Sports Debate Podcast. I am BA along here with James J. Trey Martin and Jack Hirsch. I hope you gentlemen are doing fine this morning. We had some playoff action last night. Just get to that. San Antonio and the OKC Thunder went at it in San Antonio for their first game in San Antonio. OKC comes out 15-point winners, 123-108. Let me tell you, San Antonio got off to a historic start, scoring 15 points in a row, 15-0 before OKC got a basket in there. But OKC came through there and did what they had to do and won the game, especially to their bench. Bench outscored San Antonio 76-23. 76 points off the bench. That's just like having another NBA team on your team. You got two starting NBA, teams on your team. That's just ridiculous. 76-23. What do you guys think about that? Wow.
I mean, they're so well coached, OKC, the ball movement. Everyone seems to be in the right spot. Mm-hmm. San Antonio, I just can't figure it out. I mean, the ball movement isn't there. They're zigging and zagging. Make up your mind with Wemby. He should be underneath the basket a lot more. We see him at the top of the key. Well, we don't need Wemby to dish the ball off or to be taking three-pointers. If he's open, yeah, he could come out from time to time, but let him play like a traditional big man and just get the ball into him. They can't stop him if they get the ball into him. OKC can't stop him. Holmgren will get, in foul trouble pretty quickly if he tried to stop Wemby that way. But, kudos to OKC. I mean, they were beautiful to watch, like you say, with their bench. I mean, really, that's what basketball is about, the way they played after getting off to the rough start.
So not only did they get off to a rough start, they got off to a rough start in the beginning with the first game. And quite frankly, they could have won that game. We can be talking about them being 3 games to none. So it's and that was because that went to double overtime for them to win, even with the Herculean effort with Wemby scoring 41 and 24 rebounds. That being said, they made adjustments. Like you said, the coaching made adjustments. They figure out ways. Hartenstein has been really good with Wemby, whether you think he's holding him or not. I mean, we've seen it go the opposite way. He's not that big of a guy, so it's different if you had like a Shaq in the situation. He height wise, I mean, he's up there. Wingspan wise, he's there, but weight wise, he's a slender guy. So I can imagine Hartenstein is a much bigger guy. Even though he's not as tall, he's banging in the post with him. So that wears you out. And at some point, and so he's going to make a business decision as to whether or not he wants to go in and see if he can score 50 points in the post. What really alarmed me about San Antonio, because I think it's still going 7. I think it's still going to go 7 games. Jack, you say that they're going to win. I'm not sure about that, but I think it's going to go 7 games. I just think that you had all of your players on board. They don't have Jalen Williams, and they still found ways to win. And not only win, but win convincingly. That's what's scary. Their bench, as you said, outscored. So you have to be alarmed by that situation. Mind you, and SGA has had better games than he had in his first game. So your MVP is playing moderately at an MVP level because he's taking what you're giving him. If you give him double teams, he knows when to dish it out. He knows when to go in, and he's become fearless again and going inside and scoring within the arc. So the irony there is that they started out 15-0 and they end up winning by 15. So I mean, it's just I think they're the team to beat. I think if you're going to have a dynasty, it's going to either be starting with San Antonio or it's going to be starting with OKC. And this is working to be an inner conference rival. To me, if they keep these teams the way they are constructed, they don't like each other. You got so many storylines. The centers don't like each other. It's great. It's great for basketball. We'll be looking forward to watching this team go against each other again in the next season.
Wait for the series to conclude before making that evaluation, because these series turn very quick. The Celtics swept 3-1 against the Sixers. No one would give the Sixers a chance to win that series. The Pistons swept 2-0 against the Cavaliers and 3-2. Look at the way those series turned. Even the Atlanta Hawks swept 2-1 against the Knicks in their series. And we were thinking, wow, what are the Knicks going to have to do in the off season? Because it looks like they might actually get eliminated by the Hawks. These series turn, and they could.
But the only problem I have with that argument, Jack, is that you're talking about inferior teams that were able to get up against better teams and eventually fail. These two teams aren't inferior. They aren't at all by any stretch of the imagination. So, yeah, like I said, they could go 7, but I still you could see the matchup is highly superior for both teams in this series than those two others you just mentioned.
Yeah. Speaking of the Knicks, they are playing today. They're going to Cleveland with a commanding 2-0 lead. Of course, we'll allude to Jack to say there's a lot of teams that start off 2-0 in these playoffs and are not in it now. So we got to look at that. Maybe Cleveland getting some home cooking. Maybe they'll be able to take one of these games away from the Knicks.
Well, Cleveland, I think Cleveland could win a couple of games before it's over. I mean, the Knicks should prevail, but I don't think Cleveland's getting swept. I don't think they're going out easy.
I think I had to go with James on a. I think the Knicks took their soul in the first game because they had that game won. Cleveland had that game won, and they just, off. So I don't know. We'll see what happens in Cleveland. If the home cooking works for them, then I might have a different opinion of it. But right now, I don't think they can beat the Knicks.
The Knicks portrayed themselves in that first game as a pool shark. You sucker a player to come in and play. And you figure they can play, and all of a sudden you just start whipping the crap out of them and taking all their money. That's what they're doing right now. It's just they seem like they're giving all they can, and it's just not enough. I don't know. I think the Knicks sweep them, and if maybe they get one game, Jack, if that.
And just real quick for the other playoffs that are in hand, which are the NHL playoffs, Stanley Cup playoffs. The Golden Knights, they've taken a commanding 2-0 lead over the Colorado Avalanche, who are favored to go into the Stanley Cup finals. They had a 1-0 lead going into the third, and just Golden Knights are just, I don't know what's going on with turn that switch on. But like we said in hockey, it's whatever team gets their stuff together at the right time can beat anybody. So,
I'd be concerned if I were the Avalanche. I mean, what were they like? They hadn't lost forever when they had a lead going into the
last. They were 8-1 coming into this series. They had lost to Minnesota one game, which was a telltale sign. When they had a lead, they were 45-0. Yeah, they were 45.
I think it's since 1999 they hadn't lost a game.
They were 45-0 when they had a lead. Mm-hmm. And Markkanen is out, and that's really concerning too, because he's their best player, and he happens to be a defenseman, but he's one of their best players, and that is showing in the series too. I don't know if it's getting into the psyche of the Avalanche, what's going on with that. But we'll see what happens. Their next game is Monday. Today, the Canadians are playing the Hurricanes in Carolina. They have a 1-0 series lead after winning 6-2 the last game. See if the Hurricanes can regroup on this one. This is another team that is one of the favorites to be in the Stanley Cup. And they got pretty much destroyed the first game 6-2. So we'll see what happens. They came off an 8-0 streak as well. So I don't know. It's not looking. These teams are. I don't know if they're just being complacent or whatever the hell is going on. But Hurricanes gotta get one out today. All right. So continuing on here, our first question or debate topic of the day is, who is more to blame for the Cavaliers' problem in the first two games against the Knicks? Is it James Harden or Donovan Mitchell? James, we'll go with you on that one.
Hey, age before beauty. You're the beauty, Jack. I'm the age. Let's see here. So both players, Donovan Mitchell is averaging about 26.5 points a game in this series right now. But the key factor for him is that how he's playing down the stretch in the fourth quarter. The last game he had 8 points, I think 5 assists, and the first game he had 3 points, which is abysmal. And so for a player like that, you're thinking, this is a guy, the ball needs to be in his hands. And so even the coach said, we're going to take it out of James Harden's hands down the stretch so that it can be in Donovan Mitchell's hands. So if it's, you have to take blame. I'm going to give him the blame. Giving either player the blame is saying that the Knicks defense is not doing what they're supposed to do. The Knicks defense is doing what they're supposed to do. I think they're just giving them the business in regards to what they're able to put out, meaning the Cavaliers offense. And so Donovan, that first game, he was going off. And then, of course, fourth quarter, he got shut down. He needs to step it up a little bit. I think he needs to step it up a notch and be a better player. When I say better player, meaning a superstar. This is your team, but this has been his MO. And that's the crazy thing to think about. He and James Harden have been almost ultimate failures when it's all said and done in the playoffs. They've never gotten further than James Harden has been to an NBA Finals with OKC. When they were really young with KD and Russell Westbrook,
Mm-hmm.
But they've nothing for both of them has really amounted to a championship. Let's just put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
But James Harden is 36. He really shouldn't be dependent on anything except just what he can give you as a role player, as a second star on that team. This is Donovan Mitchell's team. He should be the guy that falls on the sword, because everything needs to go through him. I blame Donovan Mitchell. I think he's the one. And at the end of the day, if they lose the series, it'll be on his watch.
James Harden has had a lot of stops. Okay, was it OKC? They moved on from him when he was young. They weren't aware, OKC, of how good he was actually going to become. They just weren't aware. Teams make those type of mistakes. So I'll give them a pass why OKC moved on from him. Had they realized how good he was going to be, they would have held on to him. And he's been all over the place. He went to Houston. He played a historically bad Game 7 against Golden State. If you need a performance for the worst game by a big-time play in NBA playoff history, that would rank up there amongst the worst. He was throwing up a ton of bricks. He goes to Brooklyn. He was outstanding with the Nets, but then he gets injured come playoff time. So, he wasn't in a position to really help the team. He goes to Philadelphia, has a problem with the GM at some point. So he doesn't fulfill his potential there. He goes to the Clippers, who were completely dysfunctional with James Harden. And I'm not saying it was all his fault, but he played a huge role in it. Now he comes to Cleveland. He's supposed to be the savior. All of a sudden, this Cleveland Cavalier team that won 64 games last year, Harden was supposed to be their missing piece. But they can barely get by a so-so Toronto Raptor team in the playoffs. They have to go 7 games. I mean, come on. A championship team would eat the Raptors up, a championship caliber team, and they get by in 7 games, and the Cavs are celebrating like they won the NBA title, like, oh, we got on to the next round. We could breathe a sigh of relief. We're playing with house money. I mean, I was an apologist for James Harden for a long time. I'm usually an apologist for great players who aren't getting it done during the playoffs because I feel it's coincidental that they're not really choking. It happens. You hit slumps. The great Aaron Judge was in a slump in the playoffs for a while. It wasn't because of the pressure, not at all. It just happens. But what's Harden, we've seen this rodeo over and over and over. He'll turn in a good game once in a while. And even James was saying about a week and a half ago, is it an aberration or not? And James was smart enough to say, yeah, I think this is an aberration. It's a one-off, him playing a great game for one game. I'm not getting suckered in. James wanted to get suckered in and believe in Harden, but he didn't. He didn't go there. Because James has seen enough of this. He needed more proof. And James, you didn't get your proof. In the follow-up, you were correct. Kudos to you. You were correct about Harden. Harden was supposed to be one of the more prolific scorers in NBA history a while back. He was supposed to be a scoring machine. What has he turned into? An assist machine? Assists are one of the most overrated stats in all of sports because all you have to do is get rid of the darn ball and someone scores, oh, you get an assist. Okay? I mean, they're good assists and they're soft assists. Okay? Magic Johnson would get good assists. John Stockton would get good assists. It depends. James Harden would be dribbling all over the place, looking to shoot, then he couldn't shoot, and he'd just throw the ball to whoever's open. And if they scored, he'd get an assist. Harden, and the problem is, Harden is, out of control with the offense at times. He's dribbling around, looking to score, and when he sees he can't, the offense isn't set up. Things are completely out of whack, and that's not to mention Harden's defense. Now, Mitchell isn't exactly the greatest defender himself, but, Kenny Atkinson, Cavalier coach, defended Harden the other day, the game 1 performance. It's not James's fault. And James Harden tried to take accountability publicly, but really didn't. He said, oh, yeah, I have to do a better job. But there are also guys behind me who should have picked up Brunson. They could do a better job as well. That's not taking accountability. That's being a little snippy. Just focus on yourself. I could do a lot better. And the coaches and the other players know what their role is. Okay? James Harden is more to blame because he was supposed to be the difference maker when he went to the Cavs. He was supposed to fill in the gap. And he was supposed to be the guy to get them over the top. There's still a chance if they win 4 out of 5, obviously, against the Knicks, it becomes irrelevant. Then they don't have a problem, Great. But it's, like you say, it's doubtful that they're going to happen. I mean, I hate to count a team out. But we can't see them winning 4 out of 5 against the Knicks, even though anything's possible, because we've seen things like that happen before. But assuming the Knicks close them out at some point, I mean, it's got to be on James Harden more so because he was the savior who didn't come in and do what he was supposed to do.
Yeah, I would say both of them. I would hold both of them accountable, actually, because they're the 1-2 punch of this offense. And even if they're not the greatest defensive players, I think maybe what the problem with Harden is his beard is getting in the way of everything. That's what it is. So maybe if he shaves his beard, he might be actually ready to score. I don't know.
Listen, I want to blame my guy, one of my favorite players, Jared Allen. I'm not happy with him this series. I'm happy the Knicks are doing well. I don't want to see him beat the Knicks, but I'm not happy with his performance. He doesn't show up the whole game. He shows up periodically, and he's great. Like in the beginning of a game, he'll show up and he'll be dominant. And then what happens to him? And then it's like, okay, I put in my shift. It's time for you to put in your shift. That's the type of player he is. He does it in shifts.
Well, that's because against great teams, they are who we thought they were.
No, but if you can play great for a part of the game, you should be able to sustain it. I think it's attitude with him. He takes his foot off the accelerator for whatever reason. The game 7 against the Raptors, he was the best player on the court. He was the difference maker in winning that game. It was a desperation elimination thing, and he woke up. He was going to be a leader. And we've seen that happen in other series. He'll start the game really strong, and then for whatever reason, he's just going to like blend in rather than, assert himself.
Well, there's people who assert themselves, Jack. They take advantage of what they have. If they don't have it, they're going to figure out a way to get it. And there's people out there who just passing the time by. And unfortunately, if he's playing like that, that's just who he is. And that's not going to change. That's a mindset.
What's a mindset? Leadership. Sometimes you know who the leader is on your team, and you tend to defer to them. Look, I love what Kyrie Irving did. In the championship game against Golden State when Cleveland played him, he took that last shot. He played like a leader. He didn't defer to LeBron. Every other player would have thought, oh, we got to get the ball into LeBron with the game on the line. Kyrie Irving had tunnel vision. I'm taking charge here. And that's what, certain great players do. And Jared Allen doesn't have that mindset. I'm going to take charge. He did it one game against the Raptors, but come on.
And see, in that same token, you got to give LeBron James some credit too, as he knows it's his team, but he knows who he can count on to be able to be that type of player as well. And so if he really wanted the ball, he would have forced his hand, but he knew he can count on Kyrie because in that same series, they both scored 40+ points. They pushed themselves towards, towards a 7-game series. So yeah, if I'm Donovan Mitchell, come on, man, to me, that's why I blame Donovan Mitchell. I got to take over because I can't depend. I know what James Harden is at this juncture of his career. He used to be the scoring machine. He's got he's a bona fide Hall of Famer. He's got 29,000 points in his league. That's nothing to sneeze at. He is a legit scorer. But that being said, like you said, in those moments, Jack, he didn't do well. But again, he's 36 now. All those stops he's made, he's still a young man. Now he's 36 in basketball years. That's like we're talking about dogs, man. You're heading off to shady pastures at somewhere in the next couple of years to
I'm going to tell you, you mentioned the LeBron factor. If Cleveland loses this series, and right now it looks like they will, they're going to be heavily recruiting LeBron. If they go to the finals, they won't, and LeBron might not find it as appealing to go there for the simple reason Cleveland might not feel they need him as much. But if they can't get by the Knicks, the missing piece could be LeBron comes home, and LeBron might think James Harden still has something left in the tank. I could play with a star, a guy who should be a star, and Donovan Mitchell. And I've got the big men, Mobley and Allen, and I got some other pieces on that team. So it's going to be a fun off season to see. And that's the one area outside of Los Angeles where LeBron might be able to convince his wife, because that is home to them too, or was home. Let's just go back for a year or two. It's going to be off-season drama once Cleveland gets eliminated.
I think the thing about the two players in general with Harden and Donovan Mitchell, they're not closers. Let's be honest. They're not a closer. They're a pair of 9 closing players. And what you alluded to with LeBron's a closer. He can close a game. James Harden and Donovan Mitchell have proven time and time again they can't close a game and they fade out in the fourth. You get a team like the Knicks right now who are playing top-level basketball for them even, and they're using their defense is just kind of like saying, well, we understand what kind of players you guys are. We're going to make you win the game and shut everybody else down. And that's what basically they've been kind of doing with Cleveland. They've been shutting everybody else down and saying, okay, you guys are supposed to be the 1 and 2. Let's see what you got. And they can't do it. And they're just playing on what everybody else needs to be doing to Cleveland. I think they've gotten away with it so far, Cleveland, being Cleveland, getting away with not having Donovan or James Harden really stepping up when they need to step up. So this is probably coming to a foreshadow of what they're going to this series is going to be. So the Cavaliers got to win this game. They don't win this game. This next coming game, I think it's going to be.
I mean, but if you want to just have fun to think this way, when the Pistons had a 2-0 lead over the Cavs, wasn't the feeling the same as we have now, that there's no way that the Cavs are really going to come back? We know they potentially could have win a couple at home against the Pistons, which they did. Just like we're thinking they could potentially win 2 at home against the Knicks coming up, and then it's a new series. My point is what I said in the beginning of the show. We can't count teams out that are down 2-0, 2-1. We've seen series turn very quickly. With it might not.
I agree with you in that sense, Jack, but just how this series started out, that's where the problem lies in. I think they gave their best, and there was nothing they can do to stop that leak. They had a leak at the end of the game, and there was nothing they can do to stop, and that ship just sunk. And I don't know if they gave up, or like Liz says, I don't know if the coach is not making adjustments. It's something missing there. It's something missing in Cleveland, and maybe it's LeBron James.
It's called foul shots. That's what's missing in Cleveland.
Or I mean, again, it's not close. I mean, you got probably one of the best closers in the league playing for the Knicks, in Brunson. That dude can close games. He's no joke. Like I said, he's trying to get that MVP in the playoffs. Let me tell you. And he's doing a fine job at it. So if you got 2 players on a team that aren't closing, that's pretty sad. Well, I'm not understanding what's going on.
I don't know whether you guys think like in basketball, like in boxing, that they say styles make fights. I think it's that way in basketball to a degree. That's why I'm thinking, Knicks get to the finals. They match up so poorly against OKC. I mean, that's San Antonio. I could see a path to the Knicks winning. Same with the Cavs. But style, something about it. But OKC would be like a nightmare for the Knicks if that happened.
Yeah, who's OG? OG Anunoby made second team all defense, so he's their primary defender. But other than that, who these guys holding? I don't know on if OKC makes it. I think there's a lot of mismatches there.
I mean, I think that you're with the San Antonio versus the Knicks thing. I don't think the Knicks got a chance in that either, because I'm going to tell you something. OKC is the number 1 defense in the league. Okay, and they can smother the human cheat code, which they've been doing in the last 2. They've been taking them out of the paint, which has been the problem with San Antonio. They need to keep Wemby in the paint, and OKC can do that because they come at you at different waves of defense. Knicks don't have that defense. They're not going to be able to.
Oh, they got Mitch Robinson. They would put on Wemby a lot. He'd get very physical with them. He would bother Wemby a great deal.
Maybe, but they still got a lot of players on that team that make a difference as far as San Antonio goes. Because if they hype on the fact that they're going to shut down Wemby, you're going to leave other people open on that team. And if they get like last night, I really saw that the reason why San Antonio kind of lost that game is because they couldn't hit the side of a barn and they weren't going inside. A lot of they were just pulling up for threes when they were down. I'm like, dude, go inside. That's all you got to do is hit the paint. I said you can get a foul, make the basket, whatever the case may be, and get confidence in your shooters, but they weren't doing that. They were just pulling up for threes. And that's not their game. That's kind of like I kind of compare San Antonio and the Pistons in the same regard, because the Pistons do that too. If they'll lose a game because they're just not going in the paint. And OKC outscored San Antonio yesterday in the paint 42-40. That should not happen. Not with Wemby. That should never happen. It's the styles that they have are, yeah, you're right, Jack. The styles are different, but the West has just got a different type of vibe going on. All right. Let's see. Next question. Oh, here you go. Football time. Is Patrick Mahomes still the best quarterback in the NFL at the present time? Go ahead, Jack.
Yeah, the question says at the present time. Okay, good thing you went to me first, because if you went to James, he would be listing all of Patrick Mahomes' past accomplishments. He'd take out the stat sheet. He'd point to the evidence, what he's done in the past. And then I'd have to point out what the question said at the present time, right now. I mean, all due respect to what all these guys have done in the past, who's the best quarterback at this moment? I'm going to give Patrick Mahomes the benefit of the doubt that he's going to come back completely healthy. I'm going to give him that benefit of the doubt. I'm not going to say, well, we're going to have to see how he's recovering from the injury, even though I could make that into an issue. The best quarterback in the NFL is Josh Allen right now. Right now. We're not talking about, I don't want to hear Josh Allen hasn't been to a Super Bowl and Patrick Mahomes has been to 5 of them. I mean, we're not talking about the past. We're talking about how someone performs right now. I'm going to hear, well, Patrick Mahomes has to do this without a level of protection. Well, Josh Allen never has protection. That's why he's always running effectively, passing effectively, carrying the team on his back, the Buffalo Bills. I mean, he is the franchise there. And he's never had a tight end like Travis Kelce, and he really hasn't had the big time, receivers, etc. And look, if you want to say Patrick Mahomes is now the second best quarterback in the NFL, it's okay. You could say that. You could even say Matthew Stafford is the second best quarterback. You could maybe even say Matthew Stafford's the best quarterback if you want. Mahomes is up there. It's not ludicrous to say Mahomes is still the best quarterback in the NFL. I mean, I wouldn't be outraged if you said that. You can make an argument that he is, but he's not. He's just not better than Josh Allen at the present time. I mean, if you want to rate an all-time list, obviously Patrick Mahomes is ahead of anyone playing today, obviously. Okay? But at the present time, I mean, I have to keep repeating that.
No, you do not.
Does not understand the question a lot of the time. At the present time, James, Patrick Mahomes is not the best quarterback in the NFL. It's Josh Allen.
What are you, the bouncing ball on Sesame Street? Trying to explain everything to me? I mean, no. Do you read the bouncing ball? No, look. Yeah.
San Francisco.
Yes, sir. Yes, of course. I mean, somebody named Drew Brees was never a great quarterback, right?
No.
It just happened to be going in the Hall of Fame, Goofy, this same year. Okay. That being said, look, that is the goofiest statement I've heard in a long time. Yes. That being said, Patrick Mahomes is a great quarterback at this time. Would you say the same thing about Tom Brady when he tore his ACL? He wasn't a great quarterback at that time, Jack? Stop.
You could have more than one great quarterback.
Tom Brady was the best at that time. He tore his ACL, Jack. He tore his ACL. in spite of all the things that 2 seasons ago, in spite of all the things that Mahomes was going through, and
injury. He had another injury, not an ACL, as I recall. Oh wait, maybe I'm wrong. I'm sorry.
Yes, you are, sir. Yes, right. I would be quiet now. Mute your button. Hit that button there, the mute button.
Where's Mac at?
Where's Mac? No, I said mute your button, please. Hit the mute button. Thank you. Oh my God, man.
You sound like me on Aaron Rodgers, didn't he?
Just go ahead and bow gracefully, sir. All right.
That's a debate question, by the way.
Yes, that's it. We could make it a debate question. But again, I'm not going to get into that right now. He's, again, barely 6 foot guy you call an overrated. Come on, man. Get out of here. All right. No, it's still goofy, sir. It's still goofy. All right. That being said.
Get back to that another time.
Yes. So Patrick Mahomes, 2 seasons ago, was still great, regardless of all the obstacles that they had. They just had a bad year, and they still got to the Super Bowl. Yes. They still got to the Super Bowl. He had a bad year last year, but collectively the whole team had a bad year. And you're telling me Josh Allen is the best quarterback at this time, and he had one of the worst playoff games against Denver. That doesn't look like the best quarterback. And if anything, if I had to get, let's just say if I didn't say Mahomes, I'd give it to Matthew Stafford, the MVP. Why would you not give it to him? Why would you not give it to him as the best quarterback at this time? Josh Allen is great. Like you said, he's great, but he's not the best quarterback at this time. He didn't play. I mean, when it mattered most, he didn't do what he was supposed to do. As a matter of fact, when it mattered most, he went up against the same team the quarterback that I'm talking about, and their team would win. And look, you said Travis Kelce. He doesn't have a Travis Kelce. He's got a better running back than Mahomes had. And he's got a couple of decent receivers. Mahomes' receivers have always been overrated. Except Tyreek Hill. He's made his receivers much better than they are. And when they go other places, there's nothing you see that's like good. Decent enough is Rashee Rice right now. Rashee Rice is exact. Oh, it made you laugh. Oh wow, he's a 49er fan for sure. Mahomes. He's made his receivers better. Rashee Rice is decent, but who knows if he's even going to be there right now. He's in jail right now. But yes, thank you. I think Mahomes is still the best quarterback right now. He's going to bounce back. He's going to bounce back from the injury. The team's going to bounce back. But the only problem is, do they have enough? I mean, Travis Kelce is not the same dude. And do they have enough in their receiver room to bounce back collectively as a team? But I still think he's the best quarterback right now.
That's Patrick Mahomes, you're saying?
Yeah. I still think he's the best quarterback right now because the potential is still there.
If we're going by right now, I think he's fallen off a bit. Last 2 years, he hasn't been that great. Even though he did go to a Super Bowl in the year before, I don't think he was the stagnant behind that whole situation. I think the defense played really well too, but because it is a team effort to get to the Super Bowl. Let's be real.
Yeah.
I mean, we look at Jalen Hurts. He doesn't ever have really a great season, but then when he gets into the limelight, the dude explodes. It's like he's a whole different quarterback. So. And it's a team thing too. Again, he got into that situation because his team got him there. I don't know if you're looking at individuals in that position, just going by their stats. Okay, I mean you got Stafford. He won the MVP, and he did have a good season last season.
NFC Championship.
That's the reason why he got that's why he got the MVP. Sam Darnold. Let's not forget about Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold did a heck of a job. Now we don't.
Wait, get out of here. We're talking about the best in the NFL. Don't mention Sam Darnold. He's nowhere close. I know. Look. You put him in the middle of the pack or whatever. Starting quarterback.
I agree with that.
Put him ahead of 70% of the quarterbacks.
I'm just talking about the
That's
current
about it.
situation. I mean, he played well enough this way. I'm not
He's
saying
got
he's the best.
quarterbacks,
Not to say he's the
Sam
best.
Darnold. But that's what we're talking about.
But I'm just saying there's other. Patrick Mahomes didn't do crap last season. Okay, let's be honest. He wasn't a very good quarterback last season. Let's talk about last season. Let's talk about that. Nobody gives this guy any credit either. Jared Goff, that dude's been on top of the league every season, and because he doesn't run or he's not flashy, he plays a boring game. Nobody likes his style. He ain't never mentioned as one of the top quarterbacks.
Jared Goff. Come on,
he's in the top 10. I got him in the top 10.
No,
sure.
Goff. We discussed it before.
He ain't in the top 10. He's in the top 5 at least.
Outside the top
anyway,
10.
Okay, whatever. All right. No, I disagree with all of that, period. Anyway, we're going to sit here and talk about Stafford having one good season. Goff has had explicitly every season he's been with the Lions.
Right. That's why the Rams traded him to the Lions to get Stafford so they could win.
That got nothing to do with it. Zach, that has nothing to do with these. And he's still outperforming Stafford. Oh, those times, statistically, he's a better quarterback than Stafford. Stafford just has better teams around him.
Prescott is a better quarterback than Jared Goff.
No, he's not.
James,
anyway,
yeah, I like you too.
No,
you like filling on that.
He is not. Anyway, Patrick Mahomes is not the best quarterback in the NFL at this point. Okay, I would say at this point, and I wouldn't say Josh Allen, because Josh Allen had a bad year last year too. Lamar Jackson didn't have a very good year. I would probably put Stafford at this moment as the best quarterback.
That's
fair
not
enough.
Unfair. That's not unfair.
That's fair enough. That's why I said he was on my list in regards to who I would choose. I mean, but I still think Mahomes is coming. I still think Mahomes is coming back this year especially coming off an injury. I just think he's.
Someone is going to have a big year this year. Maybe, I don't want to say unexpectedly, but someone's going to explode. Maybe it's going to be Justin Herbert again. He's going to have a tremendous bounce back like early in his career. I could see
Let's not forget the second-year quarterback in New England. My man had a great year. He was second in the MVP voting. So I mean, just saying.
I'm a little nervous for him. I mean, I think he's the real thing, but I don't know how good he's going to be in year 2. It bothers me exactly with CJ Stroud, what happened to him his second year. Jaden Daniels was hurt his second year. RG3 had a great rookie year, then he fell off. I mean, I get a little nervous. I like the idea Caleb Williams a slower start coming on after that. You know,
I think CJ Stroud is a little gun shy with a shoddy offensive line. And I know if Mac's hearing me right now, he would ream me about talking about. He said everybody's got a bad offensive line.
Well, it's not. It's true though.
Yeah. But I mean, I still think, but I think everybody doesn't have a great offensive line. I think offensive line play overall is no longer what it was, but there are some teams out there that have pretty good offensive lines, and some are worse than others. And I think Houston was worse than most. So
we can't count Purdy in this conversation, Steve, because he was hurt most of the season last season. So I'm not counting him in this conversation of being good. He's decent. I'm not giving him.
And even when he wasn't hurt, I'm not going to put him in the top.
No. Purdy did well.
He's good. He's good, but you're talking about the best. When you're talking about the best. When you're talking about the best, he's not in the best conversation. That's stop.
No, not for now at least. Who knows about later?
He's great for that system. I think the Shanahan knew what he wanted. He knows they scout. They saw what they needed in the quarterback that can release the ball. He's very smart. He can do. Those two quarterbacks need to stay healthy. If they have a good healthy offensive line, they will be. Those guys would be in the top. Well, one in the top 5 and one in the top 10. I think Herbert is in the top 10. Burrow's in the top 5.
Yeah, Burrow's actually been pretty good statistically over his times too, but the problem
is he's a killer.
Injuries. Yeah.
He's a killer when he's got a great offensive line. But it's either 1 year he's going to be
even
hurt,
with a
1 year
with a semi-decent offensive line. He's never really had a great offensive line. I mean, the year that they went to the Super Bowl, he was the most sacked quarterback in the league, and he still went to the Super Bowl. The dude has that moxie in him. He's got that.
Oh,
he's got.
You
that
think I don't know?
in him.
As an LSU fan, for sure.
Yeah.
He was pointing at the ring.
Mm-hmm.
He's ready to get the ring. So yeah, look, I got Mahomes, you got Matthew Stafford, and I think that's, to me, that's the more logical answer if you had to choose one, but definitely not Josh Allen, Jack. Come on.
All right, next question. Who is the greatest NBA player in history that never played on a championship team? Was that the one that I am? Let me hold on a minute.
Yeah, on an NBA championship team.
Yeah. All right,
So
we'll go with James on this one.
I know we got 15 minutes. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. I'm just going to say Karl Malone, the mailman. Karl Malone was, I mean, if that's what the question is saying, never played on a championship team, meaning that they won the championship, right? Is that what you're saying? Is that, do you bring out the bouncing ball for me? Okay, good.
Never played on a, exactly.
A winning championship team. All right, gotcha.
Right,
so yeah, I'm going to say
an NBA player who his career in the NBA was never on a championship team.
Yeah, I could have named Barkley. I could have named Elgin Baylor. Could have named Stockton. But Karl Malone, man, 36,000 points, 2 MVPs. He's been he was second at the time of his retirement in scoring.
Baylor? Did you say Baylor?
Elgin Baylor, yeah.
Elgin Baylor was. He played 9 games for the Lakers the year they won the championship, and then he left early in the year. They, retired.
He still got a ring?
Well, it doesn't matter whether he handed him the ring or not. He was on the team, And
I'm saying. Okay, I guess I was asking. Yes, that's virtual. I was asking. He was on the team when they won.
Eliminated. He was on the team and then played some NBA games for that team during that season. Yeah.
Gotcha. Wow, that's unfair to him to not be active and to see a team win the championship, but and he's not actually actively playing to help compete for it. But but I picked Karl Malone. I mean, again, to me, if Michael Jordan was not on his watch, I mean, if he wasn't playing against him or in his way, they probably win those 2 championships. I just think that Utah had their greatest run, and Karl Malone always averaged over 22 to 25 points or something like that, close. He's been over 30 points a game. John Stockton's a great player. He's a great option too. But I definitely going to go with Karl Malone because I just think that he probably, the mailman, he knew how to deliver. He could take over a game as well, and they just had no answer for Jordan. So
he didn't win any He didn't win any championships with the Lakers, did he?
Nope. Okay. That was 2004. That they lost against your Pistons.
Yeah.
He went and tried to sneak a ring. I don't like that when players do it because to me it's tarnished. You're not really part of the franchise. You're coming there for 1 year, quickly 2 years. I want to get my ring and leave. And Gary Payton did it that year too. They went to the Lakers. They won a ring so badly. That's what I like about Reggie Miller. As much as I don't like his personality, I have tremendous respect for Reggie Miller. He wouldn't leave the Pacers to chase a ring like that because it wasn't going to mean as much to him. Reggie Miller showed some serious character, with that attitude. I'd rather be the Pacers my whole career and not win a ring than just leave them for 1 year to just get a ring elsewhere. Kudos to Reggie Miller. Okay, it's debatable, Karl Malone, Charles Barkley. Who's better? I personally would give a little edge to Charles Barkley. You could count on Malone more to be in better condition. You could count on Malone's consistency. Both of them have attitudes. I think Barkley has a little more upside. That's the thing about it. I think the best of Barkley is better than the best of Malone, but Malone would be maybe a touch more consistent. So it's kind of what you like. You could point out to a few other players. You could point out to a Chris Paul, but I'm not as high on Chris Paul as you guys are, not at all. But the answer to me, the most obvious choice would be Patrick Ewing. I mean, if Patrick Ewing had won that championship, if they won that Game 7, he would be an absolute Knick legend. Not that he's not one now, but he would have been the toast in New York. I mean, it would have been off the rails, Patrick Ewing. And I think if you gave most teams a choice, they were both young men. Who would you rather have, Patrick Ewing or Karl Malone? They'd both be salivating at the thought. But I do think the vast majority would select Patrick Ewing over Karl Malone. Maybe because he's a center. Let's be honest. Centers have more value. But that would be my answer. I think Patrick Ewing is the Dan Marino of the NBA. They should have been a champion. We point out to the Michael Jordan fact again. That's part of it. The Knicks had 1 year, one great team, but they got stopped by the Bulls. That was a Charles Smith, put back on the basket season. The Knicks had a truly great team and a great coach, but the great Bull team just happened to get in their way. They would have won it with virtually any other time. They didn't have to go against the best of the Chicago Bulls.
I got to go against your team. And the only reason why I'm going to go, because Ewing is an all-time great NBA player, not just a great Knick. And unfortunately, I think if his knees would have been better, he would have been a champion. His knees sold him out a little bit. He couldn't move as much as he would. But that being said, you can't blame Jordan the year that Jordan was not there when they went to the championship and they got smoked by. No, I'm saying they got smoked by Houston. They got smoked by Houston.
They lost in 7 games in Houston. It came down to the wire. That's not getting smoked. What the heck are you talking about? They lost the 7-game series, and Game 7 was relatively close. I mean, what are you talking about getting smoked? Game 6, had John Starks made the last shot of the game, the Knicks would have won the game and won the series in 6. What do you mean they got smoked? I will
forgive me for saying, all right, I will backtrack with smoke, but I will say they missed an opportunity.
Oh, absolutely. But they were a little past their best. They weren't as good as they were a couple of years before. I'm going to say this for Ewing in defense of him. What was his best option, his number 2 option? Oakley, who trashes him now. Oakley's not as good as Pippen. Starks isn't as good as Pippen. They're not as good as Stockton. Not quite. Different style of players. So I maybe shouldn't do the Stockton comparison. But Ewing never had a great number 2 option, and he never used that as an excuse. Think about it, right?
The year, I mean, John Starks at his peak when he dunked on Jordan was actually a pretty but he did.
He wasn't nearly as good as Scottie Pippen. Come on, James.
No, I agree, and that's why I try to tell people about Jordan altogether. I said he had a top 50 player right next to him. Yeah. Yes, all time. Yeah, I agree.
Well, I mean, just take a look at these other supporting casts. We rave about Larry Bird, how great he is now, and I'm seeing too much on Larry Bird done by the former iconic black ball players, because it's as if they want to throw a bone, to Larry Bird representing the white guys. Let's be honest about it, all the Larry Bird stories. But Larry Bird had Parrish, he had McHale, he had Dennis Johnson. What a supporting cast. The great Magic Johnson, who we love. He had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, James Worthy. Who the heck did Patrick Ewing have?
Well, that's why I don't understand why people give LeBron James flack for leaving Cleveland when he did in the beginning. He had no one. They had no business at him at age 22 going to a finals against the San Antonio Spurs. He took a team pretty much by himself. Not saying that there's no team ball, but come on, they had no business beating those teams. So that's why that's such a bunch of cop out about people. Oh, he made the decision to leave. Yeah, if I lived in Cleveland too, I probably want to go to Miami as well. Please get out of here.
You know what,
Especially if especially if I had a not so diesel Shaq playing with me, playing on my team. Shaq was diesel when he was in 2000, and when he got to Cleveland, you look at it. The reason why Kobe was mad at him is because he didn't take care of himself. Come on.
Yeah, he wasn't diesel anymore.
No,
he was unleaded.
He was unleaded for sure.
I had to go.
Yeah, go ahead.
I know I had to go with somebody. Grant Hill. I think he is a very good team. Great player in NBA history. They never went on championship.
Not as good as Ewing and Malone. Not Grant Hill wasn't as good as either guy. Ewing and Malone at Barkley.
Can I say who I think should be a greatest player that wants to be? Okay, you said your piece about that, Jack. That's fine. But Grant Hill was a great player in his own right. And he didn't. And the thing about him, the Pistons were garbage when Michael Jordan left. When Michael Jordan, left the Bulls team. So and they still couldn't do anything. They had who was the other guy that he had on the team that was good for the Pistons? It was him and I can't remember his name. But anyway, both of them were just they were the two big two on that team, and they couldn't get anywhere. So I mean, and he's been on, he's been on 4 other teams or 3 other teams besides the Pistons. He's been on Orlando. He did pretty good for Orlando, but he didn't go nowhere there. Phoenix and the Clippers. So, but he's got accolades. Let's not.
Yeah, but the only thing I got to say with him though, it was his potential. And he had great play, but his injuries chopped him down. And I think that was the unfortunate thing. But in regards to being the best, I mean, no, it's not Malone or Ewing. I couldn't put him over them. I mean, and because I think his potential was there to be better than them, but the injuries eliminates that. It makes it hard to even put him in that category.
Well, Brian's a homer, so why don't we just give it to Dave Bing? This way we'll throw you a bone. Dave Bing.
That's a great answer down there. I mean, I hate to use pun here. There was no pun intended, but the answer was definitely that's a great answer in Iverson. Barely 6 foot.
Oh, Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson. That's
another person that you would say shouldn't have been in the finals and MVP. I mean, ridiculous. They won a game. They won the first game against the Lakers. It was like because of him. But once they figured him out, I mean, obviously they shut them down. But yeah, Iverson is. I mean, he had to wear padding in his shirts and everything. He was like maybe 160 pounds soaking wet. Iverson, but he was blazing fast and he was a high volume shooter. I mean, but yeah,
James, I could throw, but Carmelo Anthony, I could throw his name out there
for sure.
Carmelo,
for sure. Yeah. Yep.
Well, I'd say with Iverson, you got to remember he's another guy that really didn't have anybody on his team and he took up there. But the thing about that team, who was it coached by? Larry Brown.
Oh, Larry Brown for sure.
Larry Brown was one of the great. He's a great coach, and he willed that team to get into that finals basically as a coach. And he made sure that they rode the back of Iverson until Iverson couldn't do it anymore. And Iverson had one of his best seasons during that.
He was MVP. Campaign. He was MVP. Mm-hmm. But the only reason I wouldn't pick Iverson is because he was talking about practice. Are we talking about practice? Come on,
practice. Anyway, that is going to conclude our show. I hope everybody enjoyed it. Everybody have a great rest of your Saturday. We will be back next Saturday at 8 a.m. for the Sports Debate podcast. Catch us tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. for the Sunday morning sports show. Everybody have a great day.
See you guys.
See you, Jack.